I was told that I was being too strict as a Muslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a proper sit down. Oh no, that's a lie. My last one was sit down. But anyway, I wanted to talk about something very, very annoying. It's really been annoying me recently, and I've noticed it more and more and more. And I've been told by not even that many people, just by a few people, that I'm getting stricter and stricter, and I'm a bit too strict with the way that I practice Islam. And this is kind of annoying because it comes from people who I don't even consider them to be that practicing. And it's like, well, I'm trying my best to follow the Quran and the Sunnah, and I get called too strict. And this led me to recollect and really think about Muslims in the West, because I've heard like multiple times now where a Muslim will be looking for a spouse and they'll say to me, or I'll overhear, or they'll say online that they haven't got the right halal to haram ratio. And at first I was like, wait, what does that even mean? And I didn't really think about it. But then if you actually deep it, you think about it, they're basically saying that it's acceptable to commit haram if it's to a certain limit. Maybe it's like 80-20. Maybe 80% of the time they're, all halal. And then the 20% of the time, it's okay. You can listen to music here. Maybe you commit zina. It's okay. What kind of attitude is this like to have? And I have a feeling that these same people are the ones to say, oh, you're a bit too strict if, maybe 99% of the time you're halal. And these same people will think that you are boring. Think that they're not a suitable spouse for me. They're probably boring. They're too serious. What kind of attitude is this to have for a Muslim? And I think that because so many Muslims in the West, they haven't been, I'm just going to be honest, they haven't been raised right Islamically. I don't know what it is, but I think Muslim parents in the West need to do better. Not all of them, but some of them, a large number of them need to do better. And there's probably several reasons for this. And honestly, I haven't written anything for this, so I'm going off the top of my head. This is just, I'll probably cut bits out here and there, but this is just me talking. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me if I say something that's wrong. But this is my experience. I think a lot of, especially in the South Asian community, a lot of the Muslim parents aren't so concerned about Islam, aren't so concerned about their children growing up with a strong sense of what it is to be a Muslim. I think they're more concerned about culture, what other people think of them. I think following cultural norms, even at weddings, I think I mentioned this before, music, free mixing, dancing, all of that at weddings. The mahar being ridiculous, all of these cultural influences, I've mentioned this before, but there's a hadith where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the best of mahars is the most affordable. Yet in South Asian culture, it's very normal to be 20k, 30k, 50k. Ridiculous. And then to spend 50k on a wedding, 100k on a wedding. Some parents care more about that than their children growing up as practicing Muslims. And I think that we're starting to see that. Because from what I've seen, I've grown up with plenty of South Asians around me. And this isn't to say that, they're all like this. Obviously not. But there's plenty who their parents just let them just get on with it. They don't really give a good Islamic influence in their life. This is what I've seen. They just let, they have daughters, they let them go out and do whatever they want. They get back at night, late at night, and especially when they let their daughters go out without hijab as well. And obviously you cannot force that on your daughter, but it's not something that you should have to fix in that moment. There are so many steps that led up to that moment of them not wearing hijab. You should have fixed this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But instead, you focus more on culture and less on deen and less on showing. It's not even about telling your kids how important Islam is. You need to show them. And so if your child sees good influence, a good focus on why Islam is important, their mother wears hijab, they're not into free mixing, they're not into all of this stuff that you shouldn't be doing as Muslims, they're going to see it as a norm. They're not going to be out with their friends all night, with their friends who also don't wear hijab, or maybe the guys who they're out smoking or drinking or whatever it is. They're not going to be doing that because they have positive influences at home. This is the norm. And now I'm not going to pretend like I understand what it is to be a parent, because I'm not a parent. And I am empathetic and I'm sympathetic, because growing up in the West, there's loads of bad influences. But that's why you have to try your best. You should know this as a Muslim. You should know that, okay, there's all these bad influences around my children. I need to protect them as much as I can. I need to guide them. I need to make sure, I need to put things in place for them to not fall into the temptations of this dunya. I need to keep them busy, keep them in the masjid, keep them, I don't know, doing combat sports or doing something productive that is also Islamic. It relates back to Islam. And so something I've noticed is that there are a lot of raised Muslims who can barely even recite Quran, who don't know basic hadiths, who don't know basic Islamic knowledge. And it's like, how can you be a Muslim for 18 years? How can you be a Muslim for 25 years, 30 years? And you don't know these things. And then these same people want to tell reverts who had a much tougher journey to get there that they're too strict. You're too strict. You practice Islam way better than I do, and even though you've only been doing it for a year or two, you're too strict. I don't know, man. It's like, is it jealousy? I feel like it's jealousy at some point. It's all, oh, mashallah, Allah Mubarak. Once you join Islam, and then you get people chat because they see you advancing further than they are in far less time. But anyway, enough of feeling sorry for myself. I think back to the point of parents needing to do a better job. I think the father needs to have control in the house. He needs to be respected. And I think a lot of Muslim fathers are just not respected at all. And I have seen this. I have seen it. I think the daughters treat their fathers in a certain way, almost like he's just a bank and that's all he is. He doesn't have any authority. And I think the men need to lead by example. They need to instill that sense of drive and not motivation, but a sense of purpose into their sons. So their sons aren't just out and about driving around and maybe drinking or smoking or doing whatever. And then the daughters need to have a positive role model from the mother. She needs to be wearing hijab. She needs to be looking after the house. She needs to be teaching her kids about Islam. She is the first person, most likely, to teach her kids about Islam. They always say that the mother is the first madrasa. So the mother being a shining example of what a Muslimah is very, very important. And so what happens as a result of not having a good role model? Well, the children grow up with very limited Islamic knowledge. They don't feel the need to seek knowledge. They don't feel the need to practice Islam how it should be practiced. They have a lot more influence from culture. And it's an endless cycle. And something else that I've seen as well, I'm sure loads of people have noticed this, but even back in like the 70s and 80s, like in the Middle East, all of the Arab leaders, the Islamic leaders of the countries, they were marrying women with no hayat, no hijab, no modesty. It's just ridiculous. And if you see that, you see your leaders doing that, you're gonna think, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And on top of that, the modern day Muslim influencers, obviously we have some good ones. No, I'm joking. Obviously, there's some very good ones that are great examples. But what I've noticed is that a lot of the Muslim influencers who get the most attention are not even, it doesn't even seem like they're trying to be good Muslims. So I'm just going to bring up, all of this is public, so I'm not exposing anyone's sins, but, how Andrew Tate still smoked cigars, celebrated Christmas the other day. All of this is on camera. Sneeko, he came back from Umrah saying, oh, my life is so different now. And then you see him on Fresh and Fit surrounded by girls. Neon, a streamer, he grew up Muslim. He's not practicing. And then you see all of these hijabi influencers on Instagram. Like, first off, why are you posting selfies every single day? It's like, have some hayat, you know? You shouldn't be showing off yourself like that, even if you're wearing hijab. And most of them aren't even wearing hijab properly as well. And it's just like these people are the examples of what young Muslims are looking up to. And it's worrying. It's worrying because it's that mixed in with the fact that these children are surrounded by non-Muslims and their own parents aren't doing enough. Their own parents are more focused on this dunya, on earning more money, on having fun, or, oh, culture. Nobody cares about your culture. Your culture doesn't even matter. It won't matter. It only matters in this dunya. Totally neglecting the whole purpose of this dunya. And you're getting sucked into it. And now your kids are going to suffer. And their kids are going to suffer. It's just worrying, man. It's like looking around Muslims in the West. Obviously, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom. There's plenty of practicing Muslims in the West, but I think there needs to be more Muslims on social media who actually practice the deen properly. I think we need to stop giving so much attention to Muslims who don't practice the deen properly, who are exposing their aura, who are doing haram stuff on camera. And they know they're doing haram stuff and they're told it, but they still continue to do it.